Good evening and welcome to VI Voices. I'm Emile Henderson with Clint Ferris, Bowen McFarland, and Yoki Hanley. We are here tonight once again for VI Voices as we have our election campaign, and we have a special guest with us. We have Mona Barnes, who is a candidate for the 2014 gubernatorial election, and we'll have her coming up on the show a little bit later to get a little more understanding of who she is, why she's running for governor, what her platform is, what she plans to do for you if in fact she is successful in 2014. So we'll have more with her in the next segment, but we'll start tonight as we start every show with our hot topics. And the governor wants more money, and he wants to borrow more money, $169 million more dollars. What are your thoughts on that?
You guys can go first. I'm gonna just bite my tongue. I shall bite my tongue.
I mean so much against borrowing money, especially if it's needed. But the issue with him borrowing as much as, I would say, almost $1 billion currently, and there's no one, in my opinion, to manage the money, or no one who has been managing the money. What are you going to do with all the money? What have you done with the money that you've already received, and what are you going to do with the rest of it? What are you going to do to put in terms of spending it and revenue producing?
Isn't that part of the issue that the senators have right now, is that he keeps asking for money, and when they ask him for an accounting,
right, but the thing is,
he's not turning it over.
He keeps getting it, which brings it to well, that's a question for him.
Well, according to the paper, the Daily News, he wants to use this money for the hospitals, for some capital projects, for waste management, for the general fund, for transportation. According to the Daily News.
According to the Daily News, and we know what he said he wanted for.
Right.
But is it being spent there? That's the question. What the rest of the money that was borrowed before? Where did that go?
I assume it was for salaries.
Is it accounted for? I mean, can it be accounted for? Do we have access to that? Can we see that?
Salaries
Is there any level of transparency with that?
So Boyd is making my case. Boyd is just making my case. The only thing this man knows how to do well is borrow. He
doesn't get to borrow without the permission of the legislature.
But think about it. This may be a feel-good thing, because you may have Sean Michael Malone for the first time that votes against this particular bill. But come on, the only thing they have done, and honestly, they continue to endorse this governor's wrongdoing consistently. He has borrowed. He came in, he borrowed this, then he ended up borrowing more. I mean, by the end of the first term, he had borrowed about $450 million somewhere around
500.
Oh, 500. Now, think about that. In the first 4 years, $500 million.
The parting gift.
Now think about what is he gonna do. So you're telling me, when did our roads become so important? When did Paulie Joseph become so important? Why are you doing all of these things at the end? Now,
so that people could forget about how much money he owed, that he have to pay back for the brand new
$500,000. But my question to you is this.
But he says he's not going to pay that back until the court tells him to.
See that? I have done this. Yeah. Let's move on. But think about it. Roy Lester Snyder, prior to him coming into office, or somewhere when he was in office, there was a big scandal at RLS. To this day, the legislature, now nobody discussed what took place. And now we're going to throw money after that problem too? No, come on, man. Just
what do you
borrow the $40 million, let's deal with that. Let's wait until a new administration comes in and deal with all the other things that we need to do. He has not paid attention to the roads, and he wanted to do the entire Melvin Evans. No, come on.
No, he is doing the entire Melvin Evans. He's doing it from West Airport Road down, and that road there, I mean, you have the road by Glen coming down from Coble. All they do is grade.
The corner.
But
I remember
up to Upper Love.
But I told you about the road.
Up to now can't get fixed. All they do, they keep grading from now till Kingdom Come.
But from since, remember, I told you about that particular road. But we won't discuss the road. My thing is, borrow $40 million. Let's deal with the shortfall.
But are we certain that the shortfall is in fact $40 million?
That's the point that was
making. You see, because what we have a lot of problem is that this, in my view, has been the worst financial team that we've ever had, because none of their numbers ever match.
Correct.
And every time they come, they give a number, and then they leave, and then they come back and say, oh, we said it was 20, but it's really now 30. And then when they're before the legislature and you ask them questions, their response is usually, we'll get back to you. We don't have it with us right now. What did you think you were coming to the legislature to do? And that's the problem. We are not accurately determining whether or not it's $40 million that is the shortfall. Remember, it was 70, and it's now 40 because of the cover over money. But when did we actually find out for certain or determine accurately that it was a $70 million shortfall that's now 40? That's the problem.
But that's the problem.
And that's why you have a post auditor.
Correct.
And that's why the legislature has to take part of the blame for the situation we're in, because you're just granting and giving
They're throwing
money
money at
without
it.
knowing whether or not the funds that you gave the last time had been expended properly.
But I'm about to say, and that's what I keep considering. That's why I keep dropping my hints. If you hear
But
me,
don't drop hints. We don't speak in
just-
no,
parables.
I don't
We
tell him.
Jesus.
If you
Talk
hear me, no, when you hear me
directly so that
call
the people
names,
know
then
exactly what it
But
is
you
you're
know,
talking
this is
but
my
about.
you've heard me
question.
call names.
What power does the senators have? I'm sure they have
A lot
some
of power.
So then maybe they need to start exercising it
But
a
they
little
have
bit
yet
more.
to exercise. The only time they
No,
exercise
this
it
when
is
they
election
did-
time.
No. They did that resolution. What is it?
What resolution?
This thing, man. What is it?
With
They
Wilson?
have- No, the no confidence thing.
In Wilson?
Okay.
Okay.
What
would do that?
wait. What would that do?
I don't know. I'm
Does
just
it
telling
have
you that's what it did.
any force of law?
I don't know. I'm just telling you what
Then it was
they
a waste
did.
of time.
Okay.
Thank you.
And a waste of a
But
vote.
they're saying that they have no confidence, but they keep pitching money after him.
Honestly. So if you hear me call the names out, those are the same names who consistently support this
So you're
administration.
saving it. Let me not say that, because then they won't come.
Thank you. No, I'm
let
going
me-
to
let
wait
me
until
know.
they come.
They
Okay.
gonna come either which way.
Well,
Because if you think about it, those numbers vacillate more. I won't say we vacillate more than what it vacillates.
It does. I
Up,
agree
down,
with that.
move back. And that's the problem we have in the Virgin Islands.
But let's
no
compare
accurate
this
number.
to what Positive was trying to do several months ago, where it was, I think he was looking to borrow
$1 billion?
$1 billion to try to get us out of this slump.
like a consolidated
That's a
debt.
visionary right there. That's a visionary right there. Because I buy into that. I'm to the why. We continue to work on a projected budget. Doesn't work. Why don't we borrow one time to deal with our budget for this year, and all that money that's stored up in the treasury, that's our budget for next year, and so on and so
We've
on
sat
and
a
so
board
on.
Before.
Huh?
Most of us have sat on boards before.
Correct.
Who has to pass budgets, right? Don't everybody look at a projection and pass a budget? I mean, I don't understand. It does work if you do it right.
If you do it right.
But see, technically,
And how many times can the financial team come to you and project nonsense and you still pass nonsense? And that's the part I'm not getting.
for 8 years.
Okay.
For 8 consistent years.
And that's
Well,
8 years is how many different legislators?
4.
Four.
Okay, and all of them do the same thing.
And
Right.
but
So,
think,
okay,
And
we can
26 down, right?
correct,
Yeah.
and we continue to talk about who
27.
we say
27
people
down.
vote no because that's the science of voting no. They just want to vote no. No, sometimes those no's have been consistent and they have been commonsensical. Those idiots who have voted yes consistently, we need to kick them out, and we don't need to give them no other office in government.
We need to keep doing that, but we don't do it.
No, so people like Sproul who's running now, we don't vote for him. Malone, don't vote for him. Can we keep recycling idiots?
Well, we can't talk about don't vote for people.
No.
We can say that you can
collectively
you
VI
can
voices,
have an
but Clint
informed
Ferris, as my opinion.
voice as to how you're going to vote. But I think we can tell people to don't vote for people.
Okay.
Let's be as
Well, maybe
educated
Clint
as-
is not going to vote.
Clint's
for
Clint's
Mr.
position
Sproul.
is I cannot vote for people
Okay.
who consistently have voted against me
Okay.
and my children and their children to come.
Okay, I get
Because
that.
they're burdening us consistently.
How do we get that message to the masses of the people?
I'm trying to do so right now. And we have to agitate. And also, I don't give a hoot. Remember now, Lost Dreams came on us and he coined the phrase FFFL.
FFL.
Friends, family,
Oh, yeah.
Lovers.
and lovers. Now, in the Virgin Islands, we know all that don't take place. But sometimes we have to be consistent. I may like you, Yoki. You may look attractive, but honestly, if I don't feel you can be my governor nor my senator, I have to be honest with you, Yoki. I don't think I can vote for you.
I
And
believe in
should
that.
have-
I
and
believe
should
in that.
have-
I
Yeah.
think
and
you
should
should
have
do
no
that.
hard
Correct.
feelings and try to, destroy your life in a
No,
process because
Yoki, I will still buy your ITV products.
All right, of course.
Another plug for Yoki. Please go out and buy her Itiba products. But no, you're right. We should be able to dissent without there being some kind of vindictive response to you dissenting on an issue that somebody may have. And we have, for the last 8 years, have
Yeah.
grown a community that is afraid to say anything in the role of being vindictively
All decisions have been
reproached to
made
them.
based on fear rather
Right,
than on logical
right,
reason.
right.
Correct. No, and they say rather instead of fairness, it's all been unfair, and and you're right about that. And I'm hoping that we as a people can recognize that we need to shed that cloak of fear and just come forward.
It's not only fear, it's ignorance as well. I mean, there's so many
Hey.
other constituents who are not aware of what's even happening because they're trying to live from day to day because of what's happening right here in this community. You have to address so many different things before you could get to that. the people is who you need to address, in my opinion, and develop the people, educate them as far as civics and how it's run, how it operates, how it affects their lives. A lot of most people.
And that would be the death to politics if you were really going to educate the people on civics in this territory.
But you see,
and imagine them learning that chicken and French fries is not the real way
but,
for you
but
to be able
about
to.
it,
And that we actually hold the power.
But you know the funniest thing about it, the people who have consistently advocate physics in classroom, those are the ones who consistently sometimes get elected or on these boards. And do you see a decision being made to come before to put civics in the curriculum? No. So it's just a foolhardy dream. They're just saying it to win you over to their point, but they're not actually doing it.
Well, I know who may have to deal with all of this confusion we've been talking about today, and that's possibly Ms. Mona Barnes. As you know, she's running for governor of the Virgin Islands 2014, and if she is successful in her bid, then she's the one that's going to have to deal with all of this mess. And we have her here tonight, and we'll find out what she thinks about it. So we'll be back in a moment with Mona Barnes. Good evening and welcome back to VI Voices. We have with us Miss Mona Barnes. Welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much. How are you doing?
I am doing well. It's a pleasure to have you on VI Voices. This is your first time here?
Yes, it is.
And
yes, it
so you're at home and don't feel, any...
Well, I saw your first segment, so,
Good. So you're ready?
I had to prepare myself mentally, so
Okay.
I'm here.
Well, very,
I'm not
very...
going to go anywhere.
Yeah, that's good.
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Now, as you notice, these two are these two. And he's usually quiet, and I'm just the buffer to try to keep everybody in order.
Yes.
So let's get started though. 'Cause
Okay,
I'm really happy
please,
that you're
please.
here because I wanted everybody to get an opportunity to know who you are. I know you
Yes,
for
yes.
many, many years. And so for those who don't know who you are, share with them a little bit about who you are and why you're seeking this high public office.
Well, first I want to say again, thank you so much for the opportunity to be on the program. My name is Mona Barnes. I am a gubernatorial candidate, independent ticket with Dr. Wendy Coram. I've born and raised in the Virgin Islands, and I have seen the highs, I've seen the lows. I have seen where, when I was growing up, this was one of the greatest places to live on earth. I will tell you, I just really enjoyed living in St. Croix, and times has passed and things has changed. And I recognize that I could not just continue to be part of the problem. I say part of the problem because if you're not trying to be part of the solution, then you're part of the problem. The thought has been in my mind for some 15 years, unlike what most people are saying, and let me just put it out there and put it up front, that something dropped from the sky and God gave me this revelation and that's why I'm running for governor. Not so. As a matter of fact, there have been other political aspirants that have come to me in the past 10 to 12 years and have asked me to seek political office. I believe everything that I do, it has to be in timing. I will tell you everything that I do put to prayer. I will not deny that. I won't deny that I'm a pastor as well. I'm going to put all of that up front. But the time has come where we have to have people that have a mind to do the things that are right concerning the masses. And I have been in the Virgin Islands. I have businesses here. I'm a pastor at a church. I own a home for the elderly. I run an after school. I run a summer program. And I have found that in the past, our leaders have not held up to what they say prior to being elected. My desire, my drive, and my passion is to see the quality of life for the people of the Virgin Islands improve. People having an opportunity.
You can go ahead.
People having an opportunity to just merely succeed.
Right.
And so I have decided, it was something, like I said again, that was put to thought with my family, my church family. My mom is here, who becomes one of my mentors, and I believe that this is the time. And that is why I am running for governor.
Good.
Ms. Barnes, you said for the
Yes.
last 15 years you've been contemplating becoming a governor?
No, I was not contemplating becoming a governor, getting into the political office.
Okay, what have you done to prepare you to become governor?
What I have done to prepare myself is a couple of things. I've been very in the community. Like I said before, I have been part of projects for the community, the home for the elderly, and we basically built that because we saw a need. And that is what I usually do. I look within the community, I see what is the need that the community have, and in my ability, I try to fulfill that. I've always been, I come from a political family. I was just sharing with someone prior to coming on air. Wang Louis and Cyril King, when their strategies were done in my mother's house. And so I've always been around politics from a child. So I've known the process, I know how it works, but I've always been behind the scene. I think it's now time for me to step forward and give what I believe will be the best for the Virgin Islands.
Ms. Barnes,
Yes, sir.
I'm not seeing your platform.
Correct.
Now, tell me 3 tenets within your platform and then outlay a vision for the Virgin Islands for the next 4 to 10 years.
Okay, I can do that. Okay, the first thing I want to say, as far as people say platform, I'm going to say a strategic vision. And we have based our strategic vision in looking out 10 years, what we want the Virgin Islands to look like, and we are now working backwards. The first thing we have to do, and that's part of my platform, is the energy situation. And when we speak of the energy situation, I will tell you something that has happened from administration to administration and has to change. We have a tendency to, once one is elected, we then wash everything that has been happening and try to go from scratch. I truly believe that we got to use what we have and then build on it. So right now I will tell you, concerning the energy, I see the different plans with the solar, with the propane. You have to be diversified. And I hear one of the arguments that, okay, propane is going to go higher. It doesn't matter what you use for energy. It is supply and demand. As the demand rises, so will be the price. And so you have to have the ability to have more than one means for energy. The past and previous administrations have actually started a process. I think I would want to enhance it more by coming in with more ways. We have water, we have wind, and I think just solar and just the propane, we can add that. So that's one.
So you're saying basically your plan calls for letting WAPA stay where they're at, right there in Christiansted, and continue to be there, and we just continue to add on to that old plan?
Well, we don't necessarily have to, we don't have to necessarily add on to the old plan, but it has to be strategic if we're going to make a transition. That's one. 2, if we are going to speak on having other companies coming, I don't have a problem with other companies coming in and offering us energy, okay? But it just has to be fair game and fair play. Right now, I will tell you, I'm not an advocate for selling WAPA. However, I don't believe in putting money in something that if I see that it's not going to be worth it. And so that's why I'm now thinking of diversifying. And eventually, we will have to do something with WAPA. Whether it's close it, whether it's move it, but in the interim, as you speak from now to probably 10 years from now, that transition just might happen. Because you have to admit, if you keep putting old, new wine into old skin, eventually the skin is going to break. And that's where we are right now. You can fix so much, but after a while, you got to upgrade or you got to move on.
Do you support or advocate privatization of WAPA?
No, I don't believe in privatization of WAPA.
Right.
I do not. Okay, so that's one. Secondly, when I speak to economic development, and when I speak to economic development, I want to be clear. It's more than just bringing businesses to the Virgin Islands. We first have to fix our infrastructure. I was listening to you when you spoke of the roads, and I have an environmental company, and so there's some things that I know. We are going to have to basically every water line, every gas line in the Virgin Islands, eventually we're going to have to do some serious renovations to it, and that speaks to the infrastructure. We see the situation we had at Central High. Okay, those piping, they're 40 and 50 years old. They're pipes. It's the same thing EPA did back in, I think it was 1997, when they came up with that new rule that any underground storage tank that was in the ground more than 15 years, you had to take it out, because most of them were actually made of steel. And I will tell you, They corroded. It's no difference with our piping. So when we speak of infrastructure, roads are a part of it, but it's just not roads. You talked about the road, I think is the one you were talking around by Coble. I will tell you, my dad, my stepfather, Donald Ross, he told me at a very young age, I probably was 10 or 12. He said to me, Mona, it doesn't matter what they do with that road, unless they bring the engineers in that can actually do the work, the job that needs to be done to figure out how we get that water running off of that hill and diverted properly. He said those roads will never stay fixed. And you see it. So it just takes more than just saying fix the road and drop some asphalt on it. And then if you really pay attention, right now, the roads that we're on, they all need to be fixed. Because in some areas in St. Croix, there are 18 inches of asphalt. I don't know if you know that. And that's why it's running off. It's running off wrong. That's why you have so much flooding now. So these are the things that we need to pay close attention to.
So that means that you seriously looking at a really good person for your Commissioner of Public Works.
It has to be an outstanding person.
Okay.
Because it's critical. It's critical.
An actual professional engineer.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Not chemical.
And that's the other thing. I'm gonna get back to what you said. So we have to recognize that we are in a point in time where we cannot hire people just because, like you said, they sold chicken and fries, or they have a degree. Let me say to you, and it's part of my strategic plan, and I will tell you, let's just assume Mona Barnes becomes the next governor of the United States Virgin Islands. There have been approximately 8 other candidates that are vying for this position. Could we just imagine all of us getting around a table and trying to figure out who are the best qualified? It doesn't matter what party you came from, but just on qualification, getting the right people in the right positions to do the right things for the Virgin Islands.
Can I imagine it? No. Because,
But
you know why I say
Tell
that?
me, go ahead.
I want to have the kind of hope that people would genuinely do something like that. I still believe that. I still believe that there are good people that will go out there and will cast aside all of whatever disagreements you may have with someone and want to do what's best. I look at the people who run in, I don't know if that can happen. But it would take a strong leader to actually get that to put together. And I'm hearing that you're saying that you would be that strong leader.
Here is the thing, Attorney Henderson. We are to a point where we don't have a choice. If the Virgin Islands is to move in a positive direction, we don't have a choice. I tell people all the time, and my committee members, they get very upset with me, but I tell them, and I mean what I say. If your desire, or if you're here because in your thought you're going to get a job, you're in the wrong camp. And I say it. I say publicly, and I say with no reservations. However, it doesn't mean that there are people that are in my camp that are not qualified for a position. But we have to make it known. We can no longer operate the way we're operating. We have to have people that are in positions that are going to do the right thing, because it's affecting the masses. And that's my concern. My concern is the masses. Again, to the infrastructure. We have this St. Croix, St. Thomas. I'm a Virgin Islander. Let me make that crystal clear. My mom born and raised in St. Thomas. My father born and raised in St. Croix. I'm the only Crucian in my house. So I am a Crucian born, but I'm a Virgin Islander. And we have to start looking at situations based on need and not whether it's St. Croix or St. Thomas. Yeah, St. Croix, we need some serious attention. We've got to get some hotels built. The thought of people coming and then we'll build it, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. We've got to fix our infrastructure. You can't have big businessmen coming on this island who survive on the internet. That is how their business works. And then they come here and then the internet go down, or the power goes off in their apartment, and then they lose hundreds of millions of dollars. I have lost hundreds of thousands, well, a lot of money.
I know what you mean.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've lost a lot of money with the inability to trade because my phone wouldn't work. These are the things that people think they're really no big thing, but when you look globally, there's just some things in your community that has to be in place for your community to compete.
Let me answer this question.
Yes, ma'am.
And this is not my standard question I'm asking just yet.
Yeah, she has a standard
She has a
question.
standard
I have a
question.
standard question,
Okay.
but that's for later. But
Okay, no problem.
I want to touch on this. I'm hearing you talking, and I've heard everybody else come in front here and talk about, bringing in businesses. But I'm not hearing anybody addressing us as small businesses who are here and trying to help us to even keep our noses, I ain't going to say head, noses above water. You mentioned WAPA before, and your answer was too vague. Because, I know for me, WAPA wipes out my profits every
Correct.
single month. And there are lots of businesses where WAPA wipes out their profits. And they're just shutting down businesses one by one by one. So, really, can you just really be a little bit more specific as to how you see WAPA becoming efficient and reaching to the point where me and other small businesses can be able to survive? Because, the focus is outside, but I ain't hear nobody talking about us here.
Well, let me say something to you, because I'm a small business owner as well. So I spoke initially, yes, of businesses coming in, but I am a small business owner as well, and I advocate for small businesses. Actually, I have a company where I started with young people and as young entrepreneurs to actually breed into them what it is to own your own business and start your own business. So I am totally for small businesses. The issue again with WAPA, I still have to go back to what I said before, and I know you're saying that I'm vague, but there are processes in place right now that we have to see if it is going to work. Because based on what the present administration is saying, we should be seeing some relief, if I may call it, in a few months, as I understand it. So first, we have to see if that is so. When I look and I do the research, I will tell you they speak of this number in the sky, this 30%, and I can tell you just from the research that I've done, it will not be 30%. Don't fool yourself. But any measure that saves us is going to work. But we have to see if that works. I know they're starting that solar planting field, if I may say, in St. Thomas. They've started a solar. So we really have to see if that is going to work. And like I said, then continue to implement and build on what is being done. And the hope is we continue to lower the rate.
Well, I guess kind of like what Yoki wants to hear is, outside of the fact that you're talking about WAPA and the energy, is there other plans that you may have in place that will assist small business owners, whether it be tax rebates by certain things, by energy costs that they may be paying, whether it be other programs that may assist small business owners, that though they're paying all this amount of money in electricity, something else that can assist small business owners.
Right. Well, I would say, Yoki, I sat with the EDA, EDC stakeholders some months ago, and there are some policies in place that I have issues and concerns with when it comes to small business, because I find that it is very difficult for small businesses to get monies through that program, and that is one of the areas that we will definitely have to change.
Let me give you a good example.
Go ahead.
One of the concerns I have. There have been an impetus ever so often to push agriculture.
It's a must.
However, the incubator program at the EDA or the EDC does not meet the needs of farmers. Even if they want to can tomatoes, if they want to do anything, there's not an incubator program for farmers. Labeling, none of those stuff.
Right.
They do have an incubator program over at the industrial park, but it doesn't meet the needs for those for farmers. And so if we're going to advance farming, we need to make sure that the EDA has support programs.
And I agree with you. And I would tell you, when it comes to agriculture, I think it's a must. It's not a if, it's a must. Now, I don't agree with most that speaks directly or initially to export. I think that we need to build our agriculture so that we can become self-sufficient. Because, health is wealth and health is life. And when you are able to grow and produce your own, and you know what it is that you're taking in, then you just become a healthier person. So I am all for agriculture. I've always been for agriculture, but again, we got to do it right. And some people, their thought is they think they're going to just go and plant some tomatoes and then it's a short crop and then you're going to plant it, you're going to take it to the market. You have to really sit down and plan how you're going to do this. And if it is starting, as I said, you can start it where it's working, where we can actually sell it to our local supermarkets, okay? And then in the future, we can build on it where we begin the exporting process. But I will tell you, very interestingly, I spoke to a gentleman, I think he was from Dominica, and he had shared with me, Dominica or St. Lucia, where they have markets where you just plant your goods and the government purchase it and then they resell. And so I think it was fascinating. I was looking at it, and I think it's something that we can do even for the fishery, because if we are able to have a government agency where you farm, what do you do? Beauty products, okay? You do fish, or you don't do fishing, but
no, I don't
you do fishing.
I don't do manual labor.
And you don't have to worry, you don't have to stress. There's just some place that you can take your product, get paid, continue doing what you're doing, and then it is then, parceled or given out or sold through or by the government. I think it is something that will work.
So you're talking about putting more money into agriculture?
Yes, most
Okay.
definitely.
And I know we're getting ready to think, but I want to leave this question, since Clint opened the door lovingly for me.
And I'm going to
problem.
go back on it. But
Right.
you do it.
Go ahead.
But we have, let's say the 31st legislation now passes for marijuana to be utilized in the territory, be decriminalized or legalized. Would you go ahead and sign off on that bill?
And
Well,
answer that
okay.
when we come back from our break. That is her standard
That's
question.
my
Okay.
second question.
So,
No problem.
let me raise her card, and I don't want you to start answering, and then we can.
Okay,
So
no problem.
We'll have you come back from the break, and you can answer that question. I'm sure you'll remember. If you don't,
Yes, no, I remember
right?
it. I've had to answer it about 3 times.
We'll be back in a moment.
Thank you.
Good evening and welcome back to VI Voices. We have with us Miss Mona Barnes, who is seeking to be governor of the United States Virgin Islands in the 2014 election. She's an independent candidate, so which means she's going directly, bypassing the primaries and going straight into the general election. And so you have a few months to get a lot more people to know who you are and get your platform on. But before we went on the break, Yoki was asking you a question specifically on the decriminalization or legalization of marijuana, and what was your position on that?
My position is decriminalization. I am for it. I am for it. As far as the legalization, there's some concerns that I have. I was to certain form. So let me answer it first. As I speak right now, I am not into the legalization. Now, medicinal use, I am really doing some research and I'm for it. I will tell you, as a pastor, I understand, and I bring this up because it was said in another forum. I understand the plant, and I understand that it is a plant from God. I got that. However, my concern with it is the usage. And as I have done the preliminary research, I know someone for a fact that was diagnosed with cancer. And he told me straight up, Mona, I want to survive. And someone had told him about eating the plant as cannabis, as like in his salad. And he did that. Yes.
You can.
He did that, and he's alive today. He's not only alive today, he is one of my brokers. So I have first-hand experience from someone that I believe to be truthful in what they said. Definitely the decriminalization, because when we look at other crimes that are being committed and what the sentencing is as opposed to that for marijuana, definitely. But to say right here today that I would agree with the legalization, I would say no, because there's a lot of work and research that has to go into how we are going to develop it if it does happen, How is it going to be marketed? How is it going to be the biggest piece that no one can fully explain to me yet? How is it going to be regulated? Some people say it just shouldn't be regulated. You should do what you want with it. And they use the argument with alcohol. I got it. And I have no problems with it. But right now, we're in a society where it says that alcohol is legal. So, they say, well, then why don't you just, do what you're doing to marijuana to alcohol? But right now, I believe for medicinal use, for sure, I am for it, but not the legalization at this time.
So providing they came with the policies put in place, which I think would be similar to alcohol, because you can't serve alcohol to minors, or you lose your license, you can go to jail, you pay fines. So the same laws or policies could be put in place as well for marijuana.
I will still have to look to it too, because even as you say, the laws are there, but are they being followed? They're being broken, and so breaking rules are causing lives in our community as well with alcohol. And so it tends to say, okay, so we have this issue, do we want to raise another issue again? So it's something that
But there are criminal rules in effect for alcohol if it's misused or if it's used in a different forum. And I think that's one of the big, and I'm glad that Yoki asks this question of everyone.
Yes.
Because surprisingly, a lot of people don't know the difference between decriminalization and legalization of marijuana. And it's a huge difference.
Correct. Correct.
Colorado's legalization. You get to use it, but legalization with regulation.
Exactly.
Okay, is what they have.
Exactly.
Decriminalization doesn't necessarily make it no longer illegal. When it says for certain things, we'll let you do it. Meaning, we'll say you can use this amount of marijuana as long as you do it in your house. You can't do it in public. Those are the things, or if you get caught, it's $100 fine. Those are the things that decriminalization.
Right.
You talked about this salad that your friend used.
Yes.
And I presume that it would have been in its natural state.
Exactly.
The problem is with marijuana isn't the natural state. It's
when
the
they put
things
heat
that
to
people add
it,
stuff
right?
to
And
it.
when they add to it,
Those things, I agree, should remain criminal because at that point it is no longer
marijuana. It's something
marijuana
else.
or cannabis. It's something completely different.
Correct.
So I'm glad to hear that
Yes.
at least you are in favor of decriminalization.
Listen, you don't have to worry. One thing about me, I'm gonna make a decision, and because I understand and I recognize, it doesn't matter what you agree or disagree to. You're not gonna get 100%. And so when you make decisions, you have to be comfortable within yourself that you truly believe it is what is right and what is best. And I say it again, for the masses.
Yes.
But see, but I have a concern because we have posed this question to the candidates that come before us thus far, and each of them, to me, goes to the safe answer, and the safe answer is decriminalization, and to me that is safe. I have never lit a joint, burned the weed. I have not done that in my life.
Okay.
But I'm a big proponent for full legalization of marijuana because I think there comes a time that we just have to go all out instead of going to the middle of the road.
But why would you think that decriminalization is a safe answer?
I think
it's just you gave an option.
No, but
decriminalization or
But
legalization.
the thing about the two sides of the coin.
What I'm saying, but why is one safe and the other is not safe?
I think it's a matter of your opinion.
I think it's
No, it may be a matter of
It is a matter of opinion, yes.
but what's the difference between going? We say okay, all right, you can use it for personal use. Yes, within your home, we're going to decriminalize it. Why not just say fully it's legal, you can use it, and then eventually come up with those laws to regulate it?
You see, and that's the thing. You see how you said do this first and then come up with the laws? That's the problem I have. We do things and then we go back and try to figure out how we're going to, as you said, regulate it. My thing is I have to see where there's policies, procedures, regulation, where I am comfortable to say, okay, I will legalize it. And for right now, I'm telling you that I am not.
But Ms. Barnes, development,
Yes,
development. When we develop as people, we go out, we try, and then sometimes we pull ourselves back. So sometimes we just go out all out, and then we learn the ways of the world. It's okay. This is what we need to do. So development never just happens to say, okay, I'm gonna just do it. No, we just go fast, and then you learn along the way. So development sometimes isn't chattered. We are trying to chatter this marijuana argument by saying criminalization.
No, I think that you just don't agree. That you believe that it should be legalized.
No, because
and she doesn't agree it should be
No,
legalized.
no, I'm not.
And there's no
But
real
I'm not.
safe I don't believe it should be legalized either. I don't think it's a safe answer. I just don't
I
agree
do
with it.
believe it's a safe answer.
No, I don't know.
But I say
don't
all the
agree
candidates
with
come
you.
before and say that's a safe
And
answer.
But
it just means that I don't agree. I don't think it's a safe answer. I believe that our community is what it is, and when you're going to make a change in that avenue, I think that should be something you should gradually do. So if you decriminalize, then you get to see how the community operates and responds to this marijuana being able to be used by everybody in your house if you want to. And if that's being respected and it's bringing in funds and doing what needs to be done, that we can then move to a point where we can legalize it, then we can do that.
So we're gonna
but I think we have to also understand we are not landlocked, and there'll be other places who can do whatever they want with their drug ring coming into our shores that may need for us to be able to protect our people from that.
But may I ask a question? What's the difference between alcohol and marijuana?
Well, one you drink,
drink marijuana,
and the other one you
eat
smoke.
it.
But you can
No,
drink
no,
it
no.
in teas,
Drink
right?
it in tea,
Okay,
you can
fine. But
consume it.
No,
you
think
don't
about it.
smoke alcohol.
But no-
And so,
But you manufacture alcohol.
I guess, yes,
No,
you
but
do.
You manufacture alcohol. You can just grow a marijuana plant, you don't process it. So what's the
Right.
difference? So I see there's a innate difference between
But
marijuana and alcohol.
But you have to look at the argument this way. Alcohol is not technically legalized the way that you think about it, because there are criminal laws as well for alcohol. We may not think that
But
there
it's
are.
legal.
Okay,
It is legal.
We could have this argument after the show.
But it's legal.
I have a question for you.
Yes, sir.
You can only campaign based on what you know, correct?
What I know?
That's
what
not
you
true.
know.
Well, let me hear what
Let me
you say.
finish the
Go
question.
ahead.
You could campaign based on what you know currently. Once elected, if you are successful in that and you get elected, you're a governor. You see other issues that are facing you. Your knowledge is expanding. You spoke about doing the right thing several times, doing the right thing, doing the right thing, doing the right thing. At the end of the day, how am I to know that you're going to be able? Do you have the strength and the fortitude to do that, the right thing?
Yes, I do. So I will answer that question
and what gives
first.
you that strength?
And here's the thing. We always tend to believe that once a governor gets in, it's the governor. No, it's not. It is the people that you have around you with the knowledge base. Because I don't care what you say. No governor, past, present, or in the future, is going to know everything. So that thought of, this governor did so and so. No, you have to be able to have the correct people in the correct positions and places, as I said, and I'm going to say it again, whose mindset, their thought is to do what is right. And then you have to have the leader that if the person is not performing, then they got to be replaced. And I will tell you one thing that makes me very strong and a strong leader for this position is my 27 years in the military. And I will lean to that always. I have seen death at my door. I have seen where my life has been threatened for doing it right. And so for me, and I want to put this on record too, when I decided to run for governor, I had no financial issues, hardships, or concerns. And so if
all
I
your
have,
taxes were paid.
yes, but
Very good.
and as you say that,
that's very good.
please let me put this on record
Yeah.
too. All my taxes have been paid, but all of a sudden, since I'm running for governor, they're claiming that I owed $2,800 in 2008. They levied for 20. You're an attorney. They levied my account for $2,800 and took the money from 3 banks. So go figure. Okay? I'll put it on record. Mona Barnes, I don't owe. And so I don't come into this for...
And you file your taxes
Yes, I do.
on time.
Yes, I do.
Right.
Okay? So
That's important.
as far as leadership, I think my 27 years in the military, I think my more than 20 years in ministry, and people think that ministry is just getting on a platform and then just preaching and looking good. It's a lot more than that. And so you
have 2 intelligent brothers right here who are in a position to tell that just now they displayed that. These are your 2 commissioners, or your 2 advisors, but they have views that are in opposition towards each other. At the end of the day, you have to make the decision.
And I will.
Correct. What gives you that strength to decide what's right and what's wrong regarding the decision that have to be made.
Because I think I'm a great negotiator. I think I'm gifted. I will tell you honestly. And I have the ability to sit and hear opinions and at sometimes step away from it, like you said, and hear. That's part of the problem with leaders. We no longer hear what subordinates are saying to us because we think we know it all. I don't know it all, but I'll tell you one thing. The things that I know them well. And when I don't know an issue or a concern, I will yield to one that knows. And that actually is one of the values of a good leader. To be able to have an opinion, be able to sit and discuss and say, you know what? Maybe what I said wasn't correct. And so this time we're going to go this way. And I've done it on the battlefield. So I know it works. I will tell you something though. You must understand as a leader, you're not going to get it right every time.
Right.
And that's another thing. When we elect leaders, we expect them to be perfect people, and they're not. You know, but the difference becomes when you can identify and recognize that a leader made an error or is calculated to just do wrong. And you have to be wise enough to know the difference.
Right.
So I hope I answered your question.
Let me put a hypothetical to you, sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
We have a situation going on here right now within the federal government where local jobs within the territory, and this question is, when I say locals, I mean black, white, pink, green, purple,
Okay.
3 head, 2 feet, once you're born here.
Okay.
And they're not being given to locals, they're being given to outside Puerto Ricans, basically. And this is a current situation happening right now.
What's not being given?
The jobs.
Oh, the jobs.
Yeah, though we have qualified people here, they're not being given. So let me ask you, which one of your heads would you now task to work in trying to rectify that situation? And how do you see it as being rectified? How would you fix that?
Well, the first thing I will tell you is I believe and I support my own. As long as you're qualified, I'm going to support my own. You know why? Because, and I think I'm very familiar with the situation you're talking about. Because we can't go where they're from and do that. Because you know why? Unlike us, when we just talk, they'll shut the place down. Okay? And so we have to get to the point where we as leaders understand that we have a responsibility to our people. I go back again. Qualification is a must. Now, I see it and everybody see it. You drive in. Can I use the newspaper?
Oh, sure.
Slow, go, slow, go. My niece can do that.
And they're not from here.
So I have a problem with that. And I have done some investigation into that. And again, it speaks to when people desire to gain wealth on the backs of their own people. That's when you see those situations happening.
Well, Ms. Barnes, how
Yes,
do
sir.
we, I think Yoki's question speaks directly to the federal government. How do we get the federal government to respect that there's a talent pool within the Virgin Islands to draw upon for some of the jobs that they import people to do?
Well, okay, so let me go back. I don't know the federal group that you're talking about. Maybe I'm thinking about something else. But it doesn't matter. We got to bring them to the table. You got to bring them to the table. Listen, you can't get what you don't ask for. When I was a sergeant major in the Virgin Islands National Guard, and I'll just use this example to prove a point. When I got promoted in 2010, there's a school that we attend, the Sergeant Major's Academy. It's a year course, and it costs about $100,000 and something. When I became the State Command Sergeant Major, I said we need 2 of those positions because 4 of my Sergeant Majors were retiring. Just about everybody in the office, it can be done. I said, why? Because it never happened. So, I'm telling you what I need. It ain't gonna happen. I said, really? I said, no problem. I went to NGB. I walked into the office and I said,
NGB is
National Guard Bureau. I'm sorry. To the National Guard Bureau.
like you
I'm
act like
sorry.
you know.
I'm sorry. And I
Only one person on this table other than you.
sorry.
You might know that.
National Guard Bureau, which is in Washington D.C. And I went in and I said, this I am the new state command sergeant major from the Virgin Islands. This is what we must have to continue to succeed. Well, there is no well to it. And the thing is, you've got to show them why you need what you need. And I was able to do that. We're losing 4 sergeant majors. If you do that, you're going to cripple the non-commissioned officer corps in the Virgin Islands. Did I get the 2? Yes. The following year, I went back. I didn't just get 2, I got 3. And of the 3, I got National Guard Bureau to pay for them all. I say that to say this. When you are a leader and you are passionate and your desire is to see what is right, you're going to go to the lengths. I got to stay right here in St. Grace and say, well, everybody say it can't be done. During my tenure as a state command sergeant major, I sent more soldiers to the resident sergeant major course than all the other 7 sergeant majors combined.
Good.
It is what it is.
Now, wait, hold up a minute. No, I got to get her to get this question out.
Yes.
Our hospitals and our healthcare system
Yes.
is a big issue.
Yes.
We can't, I'm not sure what we're doing with our hospitals. I'm not sure what we're doing with our healthcare system. As you know, the parts of the Affordable Health Care Act doesn't apply
Right to us.
to the people here in the territory. How are you going to tackle that issue of healthcare in the territory? And particularly with our hospitals?
I tell you, that's a heavy one. And I will tell you, I will have to lean to the expertise of people that I've known, that have been in healthcare in the past, and even lean into some that I know that are, that's their area. I will tell you this though, the key right now, and I think no one is paying attention to, is prevention. It's like we're on a road, we're on a path, and people are moving. There are some people that, and I don't like to say it like this, but they're to their end of their lifespan, and we just have to make it as easy as they can to transition. But what we're failing to do is ramp up on prevention, because when you're able to prevent illnesses, then you have less people going to the hospital that don't have insurance. You have a healthier community, and so you're going to have a healthier hospital. I know there is some talk about the joint, not necessarily into that joint. They're semi-autonomous, and again, it requires people that have the skill set to do the job. I will tell you, I really, it's one of those situations where it's a hard pill to swallow right now, and where do you go? But I would say, interim, right now, the key is, I think we have to put more monies into prevention into hospitals.
Ms. Barnes, may I ask
Sir,
you?
when we come back,
Okay.
because we got about 15 seconds, right? Can Clint get a question out? No?
Clint,
So
boy,
we'll
get a
be,
question.
No.
you can never get a question
I
out.
don't.
But we'll be back in a moment
So,
to have you
sure.
wrap up and ask
Okay.
a few more questions, and then we'll be
Yeah.
back in a moment. Back in a moment.
That's
The
minutes.
hospital issue.
And welcome back. We're here with Mona Barnes. And Boyd had a question, and so that's direct.
Yes, my question is direct and straight to the point. I
Yes.
just want to know about your views on the status of the Virgin Islands.
Well, as far as the status, I think we need to relook the revised organic act. As far as the Virgin Islanders, I think it's key that we do have a constitution. I don't think we should be living on a document that's that long, and there's so many transitions that have been done. I did read the Constitution. I think there are some tweaks, and there's some negotiating that can be done, and it can be a document that can be presented. But again, I think part of the problem with the team that was assembled with the Constitution is their power to negotiate and understand that everything that you want, you're not going to get. But I think it's a document that we can work with. The players just have to understand that they might have to give in the negotiating process. But definitely, we got to move from the revised organic.
Status quo, statehood, or free association?
I can't answer that right now. and I will tell you, and I will just be honest with you, because I haven't done all the research that is required to give you a complete answer.
Clint, direct question.
It's a direct statement. Ms. Barnes, let me offer something to you that's bold and different in pertaining to healthcare.
Okay.
We've heard the reparations argument come about ever so often.
Right.
We know healthcare is paramount to a society.
Right.
Look at Africa, emerging societies with Africa. Vaccination is key. Why don't we start to think about putting some of that services to maybe free healthcare for those who are the most vulnerable among us, the children and the elderly, and leave those in the middle to fend for themselves. And I mean they can fend for themselves because they're working. But the school age children and seniors, maybe let's start there, because we need to make sure our children from 0 to 18 can develop into healthy young men and women. I think that's a good start in terms of dealing with our healthcare problems.
You need to make sure the parents for those children also are capable of dealing with them. So
Correct.
And
you
the
need them to
adult,
fend-
and the adult
Yeah.
children,
we can.
those old parents.
Exactly.
Yes,
So-
but at least we'll start somewhere. Start with the most vulnerable.
Me, I
among
don't
us.
like
I
nothing
like
that
that.
starts off with the middle class taking care of everybody.
No, I'm not talking about
middle.
middle class. But
But who
think
you talking
about
about?
it. But think
Elderly
about
and
it.
old. I'm in that group in the
You
middle.
understand?
I mean, elderly and youth.
So,
I'm in the middle.
Hey, sometimes we have to start to take care of each other.
Yeah, okay. Me like that plan.
That's you, but I think
Yeah.
we need to start
Well, I mean,
somewhere.
I
We
hear
need to
you, but-
start
Yeah.
somewhere, Emile.
I agree, but
We need to
not
start somewhere.
not where we're leave the problem.
But look at the rest of the world that's developing. Look at
Let's pretend like Mona Barnes running for governor.
Okay.
Yeah.
And ask her some question.
Go ahead.
And so, crime, big issue in our
Big,
community.
huge.
What strategic plan, because you use the word strategic vision,
Yes,
you said,
yes.
you have to deal with our crime problem?
Well, the first thing we have to do with the crime problem is, and I have to say it as it is. We gotta clean from within, without. That's one. Two, we have to take back our communities. I think police officers have gotten very comfortable. Some of them might not agree with me, but I call it as I see it. I was once hired to be a housing police. It is more than just driving around. You've got to place yourself within that community and have the people have the trust that you are there for them. I will tell you, in any society, any situation, when there is corruption within, it is always a few that look like the masses. The thing is, we need to address it. There's some things that are happening in the police force right now that I know that should have been addressed 2-3 years ago. Because you cannot be committing a crime and then arresting me for the same crime. It doesn't work.
So I'm hearing that part of the answer to our crime problem is arresting the publicly corrupt. The ones that we know who are in the area who are corrupting our people, who we place our public trust in.
But that's the first step. I'm
Okay.
telling you. And then once you recognize that, okay, then when people see that you are doing what you're supposed to do, they tend to do what they're supposed to do.
I agree.
Okay? Like I said, you're not going to eradicate crime. There's going to be crime, but you can minimize it when you are the one that is supposed to be doing the right thing. You are doing the right thing.
So over the last few years, it's alleged that we've had a lot of crime from our public officials.
Yes.
And they've been allowed to do whatever they want, run rampant around here, blatantly committing crimes.
Okay.
And nothing happens to them.
Yes, exactly.
And then we got to
But that is why we have the society that we have
so
right
what I
now.
want to know is, come January 5th, 2015, if you are the governor,
No, wait.
go ahead. Or when you are the governor,
Yes.
Is it your business, force order of business, to tell whoever your attorney general is
Clean house.
to go investigate, find who needs to be
house.
arrested, and go arrest them?
Well, here is my thing. I will tell you.
That's
it's
yes or
not.
no?
No, not gonna be yes or no. It's not gonna be by priority, but it's something that's gonna get done.
Okay, well,
Okay,
okay.
it's
Me
not.
if I like the answer.
But again,
Okay.
Because you
You
can't,
know.
to me, you're not taking, you just backed off majorly off your stance on crime when you say it's not a priority.
no, but
it is
the
a priority because the people
But here
now
is-
we're living in such in a way where people are afraid to say what they have to say, and I mean we have a culture that's developed where it's almost totalitarian. a dictatorship that we're dealing with right now. So for you to say it's not a priority and
It is not my priority. My priority is to start working where we can get our young people and our people in this community hired, we can get jobs, and we can improve the quality of life. That is my priority.
improving the quality of
Okay.
life is also dealing with the corruption.
Well, but that's what I'm saying. And you're saying,
a good leader should be able to multitask. As you
well,
said, it's who you're bringing up around
multitasking is
you.
one thing. You ask me
Is-
what is my priority. He asked me what is the priority.
Right.
Multitasking is different. Now I can multitask. I don't have a problem. I just answered his question.
Right.
He asked me what was my priority.
Right.
And so I
and what I'm
answered to
saying,
that.
right, and I appreciate your answer. And for tonight, I don't agree with it.
Okay,
But
and that's fine.
But I appreciate
And
your
I-
answer.
and that's fine.
And that's your position, and that's the position you're supposed to have. And I appreciate anybody
And
that will be
understand.
able to have
Don't judge.
their position.
Yeah,
and
and
we
I'm-
shouldn't
I'm-
live in a
I'm-
community
Right.
where we can't disagree
Exactly.
on an issue.
At least you
And
have a
this-
position.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Oh, no,
Yeah.
you don't have to worry. I'm gonna take a position for sure. I'm gonna take a position.
And that's what I liked about Roy Lester Schneider when he was governor. I know people don't really like him.
Amen. I
but,
said that.
but I gotta be honest. That's why I liked him
He
because
took a
whether you liked it or not,
That was
you
his
knew
decision.
that whatever
Yeah.
decision he made was his, and nobody ain't make him do anything that he didn't want to do. And so I appreciate him for that. GRS, other big issue for our retired people. What are the issues that you can? That you
Well,
believe you
I
can
will
do with that?
speak to it. The problem with GRS right now is because we made a lot of political policies during election time with the GRS, and it's now, what they say, chicken have now come home to roost. And so we have to make some hard and we have to make some tough decisions. If we cannot find a way for monies to be infiltrated into the GRS system, we're going to have to make some hard decisions. One being, and most people don't like to hear it, but it's just an option. It's just a course of action. We might have to have people work longer
Okay.
before they retire. Now I tell you, I do not believe in going back and taxing people. I don't believe in that. Now, GRS, one of the problems was what we did was we offered early retirement, and even some of the benefits that officials get. It needs to be looked at, and the policy needs to change. A governor 8 years and 3 governors taking $300 and some $1,000 out of that system is ludicrous.
No, but
You know, so and the fact of now us changing and adding people to get benefits where it's already bleeding, we can't do that. Number one,
Spouses.
it's hemorrhaging, so once we got to put at least a tourniquet initially, but we got to get some money into that system, or we're going to have to require probably people to work longer before they can retire.
so we discussed at the beginning of the show borrowing monies, the borrowing bill
Yes.
before the legislature.
Yes.
$169 million.
Yes.
So would you have advocated if they had added additional $100 million to go towards GRS to deal with the unfunded liability? Would you have advocated for something like that within
Well,
that?
I listened to you before I came on the set, and I would say this: at this point, as the administration transition out, they just need to try to bring us to a medium, and then go forward. So I like when you said, borrow enough for what you need to get where you need to go, because I agree with you. The monies have been borrowed year after year, and when you look at where it was appropriated and where it should go, it didn't. So that's a problem. Correct. So, and I would say this too, a lot of times we're saying money is the problem. It's the management of the money, because the money is flowing.
So with that being said, you support the idea of a CFO?
No, I do not. No, I do not. And I say that with no fear of contradiction, because I believe that there are people in this territory that are willing, ready, and able to manage our monies properly. And I don't think we need to bring someone to manage it. That's just my opinion. And I'm
It's
entitled
called the
to it.
director of OMB.
Okay? Office of Management and Budget. But you have to give people the authority as well to do their job. And that's another issue that we have. If I hire you to be my attorney, then you need to be the attorney, and I need to yield to you from your expertise. I can't ask you to be my attorney and then tell you what to do.
Yeah, I don't
That is-
represent those kind of people.
Yeah.
I don't. Yeah, I
You
don't.
know, so that's my
Well,
position.
whoever is in government house January 5th, 2015 is going to have plenty work to do.
Right.
That transition is going to be very ticklish. But
And
I want
it
to give
is-
you some time to let our audience know where they can find you if they
Yeah.
have more questions for you, and close out for us tonight.
Again, my name is Mona Barnes, a gubernatorial candidate. I'm running with Dr. Wendy Coram from St. Thomas on an independent ticket. My campaign office in St. Croix is at Peter's Rest, right next to the National Guard recruiting office. When you come there, you can't miss it. My picture is right on the wall.
Beautiful
Our
picture,
number,
by the way.
thank you. Our number is 340-692-0041. If you want more information, I tell people my number is a public number, so you can call me 340-277-3064. We're in the process of opening our campaign headquarters in St. Thomas. On the 20th of September, we'll be doing the Lieutenant Governor announcement. Oh, I'm sorry, June. What did I say?
September.
September. Woo, why am I down here?
Yeah.
June 20th, which is next week Friday.
Yeah.
Well, I'll be doing the official announcing of my Lieutenant Governor in St. Croix, and then Saturday we'll be doing it in St. Thomas. In St. Croix we'll be at the campaign headquarters. In St. Thomas we will be at the Four Wings Plaza. So I encourage you to come out, ask questions, and I am here. I'm here to serve. I will tell you from the depths of my heart, I want to thank every gubernatorial candidate that is running. I wish them nothing but the best. But I do ask that on November 4th that you vote for the ticket Barnes Cora.
Okay, good. You didn't tell us his picture was beautiful.
Because it's not.
We don't believe.
Okay, I shouldn't even have said
You
that.
know?
We're gonna
You
have
didn't
you
tell
back
them her
after
picture
the
was
primary.
beautiful.
We're gonna have you and your running mate back.
That's beautiful.
What we do is once we know who the Democratic team is after
Mm-hmm.
the primary, we'll have all of the candidates who are going to be in the general election come back, but this time with their running mates, so that you can see the dynamics with both of them and you'll be able to ask some more questions. But Ms. Barnes, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. It has been a very spirited discussion. You guys, Clint and I, to be on opposite ends when we're usually not. But it was a great conversation to have with you.
Thank you so much.
And as you know, we have our Rock Your Voice campaign here at VI Voices and RTD, where we want to make sure that each of you are informed as to the things that are going on throughout the day, the things that are going on in our political scheme, so you're able to make informed decisions about what vote you're going to make in the primary and what vote you're going to make in the general election. It is important that your voices are heard. It's important that you play a role in the process, and it's important that you ask questions of every person that's going to be asking you for your vote, and it's okay. And if they don't want to answer your questions, then probably that's some
don't deserve
concerns
it.
for you. But we want to make sure that here at VI Voices, we ask as many questions as we can so that you can be as informed as you can. Please remember that your voices do make a difference and they need to be heard. Good night, everybody.